Good morning. It's the Breakfast Express on Mitv Plus. I am Shegun Akinola. With the federal government now working on a national policing bill, the conversation around state police is eating up again. Not just whether Nigeria needs it, but what model actually works, what standards should govern it, and whether Nigerians can trust it to be different from what already exists. So joining me this morning is a brand specialist and social commentator, Dapo Daramola. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. Let's start with the basics now. Nigeria has debated state police for years,
Yeah.
but it's finally moving towards legislation now. From your perspective, why has it taken this long to get here, and why now?
First, I think if you look at the subject, what we're talking about, state policing, there had been issue of distrust, issue of sincerity, issue of how can we trust the system? So the players then, before now, were not too sure because, we had just exited different Malaysia group came up and what have you. Some are claiming regional
Government.
independence, regional autonomy, regional way of doing their things. And they were abused here and there because these guys are going to carry firearm. And because they're carrying firearm, they will have too much power. And people didn't trust the fact that the way it's going to run, who is going to control it, because there was no sincerity of purpose. But now, is there sincerity of purpose? I think yes, because we have seen that we have a security issue in our hands, and we've seen that the center cannot coordinate everything. It's becoming too much for them. And it's better to look at how we can do this thing at subnational levels that can give direct impact on security, on the security architecture, and ensuring that we're solving crime and criminality. And I can tell you for free that it's not that the national structure is not working, but I think it is not enough to oversee the entire security outlook of the nation. And we have 36 states. And not just that, we also have, even in those 36 states, there's some places you go to that there's no semblance of the police. You understand? Not because they don't want to have it, but because we're too big a country. And the best way to go about this is looking at the state policing. And like the question you asked,
Why now?
Why now? Why now? Because as we speak now, the population of the country has gone beyond the ratio, the international ratio of policing to the citizens. And the only way we can do it is to say, look, based on the fact that for ease of administration, the states should have their own police. But the question now is understanding politics and politicians.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Because a good number of Nigerians accept that state police is a good thing, is a very fantastic thing to do. It breaks down the job that the whole control can be at the federal level. Let's decentralize this power. But the major fear has been the misuse, abuse by state governors, that hope we don't want to wake up one day and some of these governors begin to use this as an attack tool for their opponents. They have so much power to wield because now they are in charge of the policing system in their state. So two things now. How realistic is this concern? And is there any legal provision to safeguard this fear?
Yes. So the issue of abuse, you can't remove it. Totally. So let's take a cue from the police commission. The Nigerian Police Commission they oversee the affairs of the police, from recruitment to training to promotion and to disengagement.
To welfare.
Yeah, to welfare. You know, so if we look at, because I know they're calling for bills, they're calling for contributions now. If we look at that template and we say the police has a commission, police service commission, yeah, the state can replicate it, yeah, and they can utilize that with assistance from the federal structure, from the federal level, and if it means putting the right set of people in place. Mind you, the police commission is not just for police officers alone, retired police officers, credible police officers are in that commission. They also have civilians that have security background and interest that will be part of it. So if every state can adopt that method, yeah, it's going to work. Because and why I say it's going to work is, at that point in time, at that level, there wouldn't be the need to say it is APC that is this, it is PDP. So it's going to be appointed by the process of appointing that state commission. Just take, for example, before we got to Nigerian Revenue Service, we used to have FIRS, and we have LIRS. You understand? And every state had their own tax bodies. So if we extrapolate that method and say, look, we want to create this, I want to have an oversight unit in all.
So you're saying like a replica of the Police Service Commission in different
each
states.
State. Okay. And then having all the stakeholders, maybe you look at it from maybe you divide, like Lagos, for example, you have Ibile, you understand, the divisions, and you have different people representing that on that council or on that commission, and then you have, of course, from the federal level, so that we don't deviate from the Constitution. The Constitution, the responsibility as enshrined in our Constitution. Because if you don't have laws, of course, it's going to, a lot of laws from the federal level will dovetail. Some will probably replicate so that we can have standardization. Then the issue of the threats, safeguards that we can put in place in case of there's abuse, misuse of the police machinery by sitting governors can be minimized, because there will be laws guiding them and they will stand alone. You understand? I know that the state governor is the chief security officer. He has the final call and all that, but they will certainly be proviso or provisions in the law that will make sure that all these processes will not be abused. You understand? So it's a very tricky thing, but there is a way out. Now you're going to talk of funding, because the state will fund it. If I'm the one paying the commissioner,
it would
exactly. So the funding too, they have to have that autonomy in a way that they can be seen to be autonomous. It might not be 100%, but there must be provisions or provisos that this organ is going to be independent, or else
there will be abuse.
There will be abuse.
All right, let's look at some steps or some expressions from the federal government. You know, one of the things they are saying currently is that there will be a dual policing structure. That, okay, states will have their own police, but it doesn't mean the federal system will just absorb themselves entirely, that somehow they will be working hand in hand, balancing the national standards with the human rights safeguards. So in practice, that word, national standards, what does it actually look like for that balance to work? Because they keep hammering on that whether state or the federal police, national standard will still be maintained.
Yes, like I said something initially. I said we have a constitution that governs, that our state, the state called Nigeria, our country, is being operated with. So if that constitution is supreme, then there will certainly be, when you create a state police, you're going to have your own set of rules and guidelines and modus operandi, which should not be a far departure from what happens at that level. So, as you have said, having the dual system is a state that has achieved it well is Lagos State. You know, even though, through the RRS.
Okay.
Because, so the Lagos Security Trust Fund was set up to cater for the welfare and ensuring that they have infrastructure to run, to police the state. Now, the RRS had its own commander, okay, which was deployed from the federal, you know. I mean, that's from the Nigerian Police Force.
Sure.
So RRS is an organ of a creation of Lagos State, you know. I mean, not a creation per se, but is funded by a trust fund created by Lagos State. So the RRS and Nigerian police structure in Lagos can be replicated, but at this point, the state will be in charge of RRS. I'm just saying.
Sure.
The state will be in charge of RRS wholly, but they cannot do things in how would you put it now? In conflict. They have to be in sync. The operation must be in sync. Intelligence gathering, operations, intelligence gathering, and modus operandi. You can't say because I'm federal, remove your hand from here. You know, in foreign climes, you have counties. You have where you get to one county, you find out the sheriff, I'm the one in charge here. You understand?
And they are always the first point
they are
of
the
call.
first point, and they are the ones in charge. If you're going to do anything, you bring them, you get in touch with them, and you let them know that I'm coming from a federal system or a higher authority and want to carry out this here. And they work together in collaboration. So at the end of it, it's just that we are a people that like to brag. It is my own. Now me get them. I'm the one in charge
Stay
here.
off.
Stay off. No, because security issues are big. When it comes, he doesn't know party, he doesn't know race, he doesn't know sex, he doesn't know social class. Do you understand? When there is an abuse of security, the security situation, it can affect everybody and anybody.
In fact, I would like to use the situation in Osun State currently in the build-up to the elections as an example. So I just try to borrow the wing of imaginations that if state police was at play in Osun State currently, what do you think that space will look like?
It will, if it's at play and is well structured. I mean, if it's at play as it is, because there's nothing that will guide their operation and their modus operandi and how they carry out their activities. Of course, you cannot remove the fact that politicians at times they want it is do or die. I must have it. And everything they have to do to get there, they will do it. But because we are in a state or in a country that we're still operating under the federal police system. So you find out that you might just, during elections, why do you think they swap commissioners?
Move them around.
They move them around so that there is no, I won't use the word, not compromise, but because they are too used to that terrain.
There will be influences
of some sort, so that there is a neutral person overseeing the security architecture, because if there is no secured environment, election cannot happen. And even when it happens and there's an abuse or there is a breakdown of law and order, which of course will always come, because every party wants to have their own success, they want to win, it will always happen. So if you don't have such safeguard in place, it will certainly happen. And when it happens, it will now be, why did you not plan?
Let's hope that INEC can build on the state police if it eventually...
And it also means that at every point in time, funding will not be a problem. Okay, like I always say, for Lagos State, for example, because Lagos State has been able to adopt that strategy and is working. The Lagos Security Trust Fund, you have corporate organizations where many Nigerians coming to, fund it. Even the state too funds it. Yeah. So they have enough pool of funds to run the operation. So if it means that funding is now going to be legal, because now it's a function, it's a thing of the law that you have police expense head or charge in the budget, and they're going to make provision for that. So that's not even a big issue, because they will be funded by by the budget because it's a creation of the federal government for the states.
Okay, so as we're rounding off this discussion, the issue of trust. So,
Yes.
how do we manage trust? Because the Nigerian police force, the image has been dented, if we want to be honest. So, how do we manage trust at the state police level? Let's round off with that.
Okay, so for the Nigerian police force, it's just that it's at home. That is, say a parade is not honored at home. But you need to see our police force operate outside the shores of Nigeria. They're usually given accolades and, thumbs up for their operation. So for trust here, it's something that the police is still trying so much to balance and to build. Even though, yeah, there are little disgruntled elements at the very rank and file level, but at the top, I know that they're doing everything in their own power to ensure that they build trust. And that's why you find that lately, you see that people do things and immediately the police comes out to give a statement and to step down those people and make them face the law. Now, the issue of people have different stories about Nigerian police, and if you have any issue, you can go and make your report. Of course, there are whistleblowing mechanism in the police force now because it's a feedback that helps build the system. Of course, I know that the current IGP is someone that has done so well in Lagos, even at African level, even at the United Nations. He was there some weeks ago, and I was like, wow, Nigerian police has gone far. So if we have people that have that integrity can oversee our functions, then of course it will cascade down.
All right, thank you. I just hope we can have a broader discussion some other time.
Anytime.
So if you're just joining us on Breakfast Express, I've been speaking to Mr. Dapo Daramola, and he is a PR specialist and a social commentator. So now I will hand you over to Toun and Okpe for in-depth stories that made the news this morning. I am Segun Akinola. Do stay with us.